There are 4 myths about high yield savings accounts that you should know, with number 4 being one that I don't see being talked about enough. So let's go ahead and start with myth number 1, and that is that a high yield savings account, also known as an online savings account, is going to have the same rate forever. The truth is the yield or the interest rate is going to change over time. As long as the Fed raises and lowers interest rates, you can bet that your high yield savings account is also going to have its rate change too. I remember several years ago when we opened our American Express high yield savings account, we were earning a 0.6% APY. Then about a year later, we were earning a 2.2% APY. Then during the pandemic, it went down to about 0.6%, and currently it's back up to about 3.0% APY. So you can see it's going to go up and down. It's never going to stay the same. So really important, if you're thinking about opening a high yield savings account because you see an article that talks about this bank or that bank that offers the highest interest rate, well, make sure you do your research and check to see what that bank has offered in the past and try to compare it to other banks also. So that way you don't get tricked into signing up for an HYSA that might be offering one of the higher interest rates today, but 1 year from now, it may be on the lower end. Let's continue with myth number 2, and that is that you only need a high yield savings account to build wealth. I've seen messages out there in different places that talk about how a high yield savings account is all you need to build wealth and achieve financial independence. Personally, I believe this is far from the truth. For one, high yield savings accounts will likely never keep up with inflation. So even with the accounts that offer the highest interest rates, you're always going to struggle to keep up with inflation, keep up with the cost of living and everything else that just continues to rise in cost each and every day. In the long term, you're going to want to make sure that a high yield savings account is not really the lion's share of your investment portfolio that you're trying to build wealth with. I will say that as an emergency fund, our high yield savings account has been perfect for me and my family. Some people are comfortable with having 1 month's worth of expenses in their HYSA, while others try to target 1 to 2 years worth of expenses in their HYSA. Personally, my wife and I believe the sweet spot is about 6 months to a year because you have a little bit of flexibility to find another job in the event you need to do so, or if you just need to take some personal time from work that's going to be unpaid, then that 6 months to a year's worth of expenses should cover you enough. Either way, I can't see a better place to keep your emergency fund in anything other than an HYSA, where it's going to be safe, where it's going to be FDIC insured, and where the funds can be easily accessible. And that's what our experience has been with our high yield savings account. Now, this leads me to myth number 3, and that is that your money is harder to access in an online savings account. The honest truth is the speed in which you're able to transfer funds in and out of your high yield savings account is going to vary from bank to bank. We currently have an American Express high yield savings account, and the longest we've ever waited to have our money go from our American Express account to our actual bank account has only been a couple days. Sometimes we've actually been able to see the money the next day in our personal checking account as long as we submitted that transaction request early enough in the previous day. And you should be able to confirm the speed in which you're able to transfer funds with the bank, with customer service, and they'll tell you exactly how quickly you can get funds in and out of that account. But don't be misled into thinking that an HYSA takes a long time to get money out of or money into. Finally, myth number 4. If I have 3 to 4 accounts at one bank, I have 3 to 4 times the $250,000 of FDIC coverage. A very important myth to address is how your money is FDIC insured. FDIC states that the standard deposit insurance amount is $250,000 per depositor per insured bank for each account ownership category. So I totally understand the per depositor part of that statement. That's you, that's me, that's whoever opens the account. And the insured bank is whichever bank you're opening the account with or affiliated with. Nowadays, you'll see a fintech company offer an HYSA that's actually insured with another bank or that parent banking firm. But what's really important here is to understand that last part, the ownership category. You yourself can only have $250,000 of FDIC coverage regardless if you have both a checking and a savings account at one bank. But let's say you're married and your spouse also wants to open a single account. Well, your spouse will also have FDIC coverage. And if both of you open a joint account, well, each of you will have $250,000 of FDIC coverage for that joint account. So you have your single account, your spouse also has a single account, and you both have a joint account. That's up to $1 million of FDIC coverage. The big key here is how the account is owned, not necessarily the different accounts that a person owns. You can have a checking account, you can have a savings account, you can have different accounts in one bank, but guess what? The maximum amount of FDIC coverage is going to be $250,000. Now, there are strategies where you can actually name beneficiaries for different accounts that you may have, and that's going to help you maximize the amount of FDIC coverage that you can get. However, I do feel like this deserves a video of its own, so if you would like for me to do that, let me know in the comment section below, where we can just talk about FDIC insurance, FDIC coverage for savings accounts. Now check this out. If you're curious to learn more about investing and a powerful strategy that involves 3 funds, then click on the video on the screen right now, and I'll see you over there. Peace.